Hello, guitar pickers and viewers and subscribers. I need help. Boy, do I ever. More than I know. But seriously, from time to time I get a comment on the channel here that goes something like this. Well, the latest one I got, I think, was a couple days ago, was from a viewer that said, "Hey Larry, shut up and play." And I get those once in a while, you know, and that one made me think, you know. I thought, well, maybe I talk too much. There may be something in that. But, you know, that's just my nature of how I do things is, you know, I like to ramble on about nothing. And it puts me at ease a little more, you know, if you could understand that. It helps me, you know, to do this stuff. But I get it, you know, some people are just, they want to hear the playing and they don't want to hear me talking about a lot of it. And so I took a little stock of things and looked on my channel and, you know, at some of the stuff, and to my surprise, I've got over 500 music videos. Well, it's more like 600, but a lot of those are work related. You know, they're, you know, this stuff, the studio tape, 2-inch tape work, you know, which has nothing to do with the guitar playing. But you know, besides that, I think there's about 75 or 80 of those work type videos. There's a good 500 plus of, you know, my guitar playing, and so what I thought about was this. You know, you've probably seen it too. I've seen a few of them. People will put out just like an hour of nothing but music, like an album, you know, just song after song after song. And it's of a certain group or genre, you know, like big band, 1930s, or country golden age, 1940s, 50s, you know. And then there's, you know, countless finger picking and guitar and, you know, all that. Well, what I'm thinking about doing, and you all help me out here, leave me some comments and tell me what you think, you know, because I don't know. Really, I don't. This channel is for you all. It's, you know, I'm here. I'll play whatever you want me to play if I can. But, you know, it's for you, and you tell me what you think. Should I go back and edit all these old videos of mine into some albums? Say like 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours or whatever, you know, and like an album of country, an album of finger picking, an album of 1920s dance bands, and then an album of 1930s big band pop and Broadway show tunes, and just organize all the videos into album collections of 30 or 60 minutes. Or I have a feeling, since I have so many videos, there'll probably be multiple albums, in each category. And I can go back and edit all the talking out and just put the music in. If you just want to hear me playing for 30 minutes without, anything else, then I can edit all that out. And something occurred to me when I was digging into my channel way back 12, 13, 14 years. It's kind of tiresome to scroll down a list of 600 videos to find one video that I did 10 years ago. I mean, I even found that was frustrating for me, just looking through all those. So I guess there is some utility there if somebody was looking for something I played, wanting to learn a lick, or, well, how do you do that? It'd take you an hour just to find the thing, in my content, I think is what YouTube calls it. And by the time you found it, you'd be so frustrated you wouldn't even want to hear it anyway. You'd be tired of scrolling through my junk. So there is that, a little aspect of it is, if you're looking for something ancient and having to dig way down the list, that might make it a little easier if I organized albums, of some of that. And, it would also bring back some of those old things I played long ago that probably nobody's seen, if you're just, your casual YouTuber, whatever pops up is usually what you click on. Well, there's a lot more of my past than there is of my present, and I will say this, as time goes on, I'm not playing better, I'm playing worse than I played 10 years ago. I was playing better then. I guess that's just, age or time or whatever. It seems like the longer I go, the worse I get. So, there is some things that I played back then that I really can't even play anymore. I can't even remember them, what I played. So, anyway, that's my big spiel for the day is, what do you think? Should I go back and re-edit all this old stuff into some continuous music albums with no talking and just, something you can put on and it'll run for an hour until you get sick of hearing me? That won't take very long. Let me know. What do you think? And like I say, this channel is yours. It's for your benefit more than me. And if it's something you'd like, I'll get busy editing and see what I can come up with. I guess I am kind of fortunate in the sense that I do have so many videos, to to work with, and I'm a little surprised myself I had that many. I hadn't really been keeping up with anything, for a while now, and well, I put one out once a week, generally, sometimes twice. Yeah, it adds up after a while, and somebody once in a while will comment to me, well, how many tunes do you know? You must know 1,000, and I really don't know over the years, I will say this, then versus now, I forgot more tunes than I know now. And that's probably saying something, I don't know what. But back when I worked full time at this business, my biggest job, or longest running job, I worked 3 nights a week for about 6 hours. And I played 5.5 hours a night, non-stop. I would sit down on my bar stool up in the balcony, and I would sit there and just play over hour after hour and take requests. Now, if you really want to know where you're at and how good you really are, take requests and be prepared to play the request. And so I did a lot of that in those years as I played non-stop, live music solos for 5.5 hours a night. And in order to do that and not get bored and bore the people that, listening to you, you have to learn a lot of songs and continuously add to them, and rotate your what you play from night to night. So I had a pretty big book, of things that I'd worked up, solo stuff that I could just sit there and play, and not get too repetitive. And so anyway, it's, I guess, all grew out of that, the necessity of needing to have enough material to work from or draw from night to night, and also to have just enough general knowledge to where you can cover requests, and that comes from listening mainly, as I listened to music all the time back then, radio, especially radio, and kept up, and I'd done that since I was a kid, 50, 60 years ago, starting in the late 1960s, mid-late 60s, I think. 67, I think, is about as early as I can remember, going back that far, listening to the radio. And so that's a lot of years of listening, and soaking, the pop culture in over the years. And so, you kind of get an ear for that, and when somebody says, hey, can you play this? The wheels start turning, and yeah, I think I know that. And, I got to where I could fake my way through it halfway decent and get by, fool them, enough to get by. Like Chet used to say, well, we fooled him again. That's true. A lot of nights that was true. Oh well, anyway, to make a long story even longer, I won't let you down since this is Sunday, and I'll pick you a tune here, just to keep things going along. And y'all have a good Sunday, and let me know what you think. Should I make albums out of my old videos or not? And if yes, what should I make? Let me know.